Interesting stories usually include vivid descriptions and fascinating details, but language that's too flowery or complicated might distract the audience from the message. So, balancing these two extremes is essential for becoming a good storyteller. In academic and professional writing, you need to find a similar balance between keeping your readers interested and expressing your ideas clearly. Let's read our first example. Preparing even a simple culinary entree, such as elbow pasta noodles and melted tangy cheddar cheese of the boxed variation, can be an enjoyable and tranquil undertaking if one is cognizant of the most vital procedures. First, fill a medium sized pot with an abundance of temperate water and gently situate it on the cooking apparatus, the dial of which should be directed to a temperature of great warmth. The liquid will presently begin to bubble delicately and yield steam, at which juncture the foodstuffs should be incorporated. When the noodles are tender and delectable, sprinkle in the vivid yellow orange cheese mixture and blend judiciously. This language is much too descriptive for something that only requires a few steps. Paragraph here is so complicated it's almost impossible to follow the author's train of thought. Readers not interested in imagining through description the deliciousness of each of the ingredients, or even of the colorful language that describes setting on the stove at not just warm, but great warmth. Who cares? Just tell me what I need to do, like this. To make macaroni and cheese from a box, put water in a pot, turn on the stove to high heat, and place the pot on stove on top. Soon the water will boil, and when it does, add the noodles, and when they're fully cooked, stir in the cheese. Much better. Now, if it were a fictionally equivalent setting, this example would be a bit too bland and boring. Something like the house was on the corner of First and Maple, as opposed to the large, stately Victorian sat serenely at the quiet corner of First and Maple. But again, to make macaroni and cheese, all we want are the steps to make it happen. In this lesson, you'll learn how to effectively communicate meaning with the following word choices: clear words, concise words, and vivid words. Strong writing is clear and easy to understand. Don't be tempted to use complicated language just because it sounds, quote, smarter. While academic and professional documents may be formal, they should not be confusing. Think about the following sentences. This stratagem will advocate tandem techniques to diminish building perpetuation expenditures. As opposed to, this proposal will suggest two ways to reduce building maintenance costs. Now, while both of these examples have the same basic meaning, the second sentence is much clearer than the first. I'm sure you agree. One specific type of unclear language is called jargon, or overly technical terms. Here's an example. The nomenclature of the Acer rubric is derived from the visual perceptual property of the principal lateral appendages of its stems during the temperate season of autumn. Can you tell what this sentence says? It's explaining that red maples get their name from their leaves, which turn red in the fall. However, figuring this out is difficult because of scientific jargon like Acer rubric and principal lateral appendages. Generally, you should steer clear of jargon unless you're specifically writing to a technical audience. If you need to use unfamiliar terms, always include clear definitions. Concise word choice eliminates unnecessary language from your writing. Consider the following paragraph. I wanted to see if you'd be willing to meet me for just a couple minutes tomorrow in the afternoon at 2:15 or sometime around then. I would really appreciate being able to hear what you think about the progress I've made with the first draft of the paper that I've been writing. Due to the fact that I am having some trouble with organizing my paragraphs, I'm hoping you can help me. It would be great if I could come to your office after class tomorrow afternoon, but I can also meet at another time if it would work better for you. Wow, it's very wordy, this paragraph. The author circles around the meaning of each sentence and often uses 4 or even 5 words instead of just one. Not concise at all. Not only are these phrases difficult to read, but they're also very confusing. Here's a much more concise version. Are you available for a brief meeting around 2:15 tomorrow afternoon? I'd like to hear your feedback on my first draft of essay number 3. I'm having trouble organizing my paragraphs and would appreciate your help. If another time would be better, please let me know. Now, the basic meaning of both versions is pretty much the same, but the revised version, the second one, it's much easier to read. On your own, see if you can think of a more concise version for each of these 3 wordy things here. Just in a couple of minutes tomorrow in the afternoon at 2:15 or sometime around then. What would that phrase be if it were more concise? Well, something like tomorrow around 2:15 p.m. How about this one? The first draft of the paper I've been writing. More concisely, we could say the first draft of my paper. And the third one? Due to the fact that I'm having some trouble with organizing my paragraphs. How about I'm having trouble organizing my paragraph? Keep in mind that a concise sentence is not always short. You don't want to confuse your readers by eliminating important information from your writing. Instead, you should focus on using words that state exactly what you want to say. Here are a few examples. The final aspect of word choice is using vivid language. When you're sharing information with your audience, you want your words to be interesting and precise. I'm going to say the name of an animal, all right? And you picture it in your mind. Here it is. The word is bear. Got it? Okay. Is this what you pictured in your mind? For most, probably not. While the contents of this image could be described with the words bear or even animal, using polar bear creates the most accurate image in the reader's mind. To make your writing more vivid, use specific nouns and action verbs. Here are a few examples of vague versus vivid nouns, and here are vague versus vivid verbs. Try to say that 3 times fast. Another way to write vividly is to use unique adjectives and adverbs. Words like nice and good are often overused. Finding a more original descriptive word will keep your writing fresh and interesting. Here are a few examples. Use adjectives and adverbs, though, carefully. Usually, a strong noun or verb alone is better than a weak noun or verb with an adjective or adverb, like this. Any type of writing can benefit from vivid language. While you may not use imaginative language in a research paper or, say, a resume, you should still choose words that are descriptive and accurate. Here are some examples. In this lesson, you learned how to effectively communicate meaning with the following word choices: clear words, concise words, and vivid words. Thanks for listening.